Let us put ourselves in the presence of God. Dear Father, we offer everything and thank you for everyone gathered here to walk with you. May we ask you for your blessing and guidance so that the activity set for this undertaking is successful. We ask you to open our eyes to see the wonderful things from this activity. We ask you to open our ears so that we may retain the invaluable knowledge. Open our minds for us to think wisely. Put us with understanding, cooperation, and peace, fulfilling our responsibilities. Open our hearts so that we may receive your everlasting love. And open our spirit so that we may know that you are with us all throughout the day. We ask all this in your name. Amen.
All right, a great afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Tech Trends Intermediate Session on Blockchain. My name is Carlos Antonio Albornoz of the DICT, ICT Industry Development Bureau, and I'm more than honored to be your host for today's session. I'm sure you're all excited to know more about this particular technology trend. And as one of the leads of our emerging tech program here in the Bureau, I'm personally also looking forward to hearing from our renowned speakers, most of whom were actually speakers of ours during the Global Blockchain Summit in Bataan. Before we start though, I would like to also acknowledge our co-presenter for this event, Women in Blockchain Philippines. Women in Blockchain Philippines is headed by no less than the mother chain herself, Ms. Gail Cruz Macapagal. Before we start, let me remind everyone of the following house rules. First, for our participants and viewers, kindly observe proper conduct during the program. This event is currently being live streamed at the DICT Facebook page. We encourage you though to share it with your friends and family and help promote the event by using hashtag TechTrends in your posts. Second, should you have any questions, please feel free to chat in the Q&A box or in the comment section of our Facebook Live. First, for our participants of this program, we would like to request for you to fill out the evaluation form to be shared after the event. Ms. Secretary would like to request for you to fill out the evaluation form to be shared. To be given the floor to Ms. Secretary would like to request for you to fill out the all right, now to give her opening remarks, let's hear from a well-known digital advocate, consultant,
Recording
and
in
sought
progress.
after ICT champion who has been a great contributor to the development of the Tech Trends program. Everyone, let us welcome with the warmest heart emoji the ICT's own very pride and joy, the ever dynamic DICT Undersecretary for ICT Industry Development, Yusek Josel Batapa Sige.
A dynamic afternoon to each and everyone. Undoubtedly, the word dynamic is a perfect word to describe our tech trend session today as we welcome all of you, our dear participants, in the intermediate level session on blockchain. We will be enriched with knowledge and insights as we are joined by a roster of outstanding speakers to highlight the value of blockchain technology in the Philippines. I am very much honored as your Undersecretary for ICT Industry Development to be invited once again to welcome all of you and take this opportunity to thank our esteemed industry partners and stakeholder organizations who are present and are here with us today. Our ever supportive regional focals and team members of the DICT, and to all of you, our dear participants, for always supporting the Tech Trends program. Since last October, the DICT, through the ICT Industry Development Bureau or IIDB, has successfully conducted several milestone events that raised awareness on the importance of blockchain. Notably, the first Global Blockchain Summit highlighted the current state of the blockchain industry in the Philippines in a two-day event held in Bataan last October 26 to 27. Together with DICT Secretary Attorney Ivan John Huy, we emphasized the crucial role of emerging technologies, particularly of blockchain, in creating employment and investment opportunities and advancing countryside development and innovation in the country. We also weighed on the value of convening key players and blockchain partners to spark interest and collaboration and to initiate the formation of a blockchain industry sector. Establishing such representations can strengthen the voice of the sector in policy formulation and regulations to further improve the utilization of blockchain technology in the Philippines. The DICT prioritizes upskilling and reskilling of initiatives to ensure a skilled digital workforce in the country. I'm very pleased to mention to everyone that IIDB is conducting regularly several programs such as the SETPH for stimulating the growth of emerging technologies in the Philippines. And of course, one of these programs is Tech Trends to help achieve the DICT's goals. This afternoon, we would like to acknowledge one of TechTrend's most valuable partners, the Women in Blockchain, together with DynaQuest, who eagerly helped us craft a holistic program for all of you. Engaging us in this session are Mr. Jairo Reyes, founder of BitSquela, who will talk about blockchain education. Ms. Myrtle Ramos, CEO and founder of BlazeWar, will discuss the utilization of blockchain technology in the gaming industry. And Mr. Jello Wong, the CEO of Hikha, will highlight the advantages of non-fungible tokens or NFTs in the blockchain space. The panel discussion is moderated by the technical manager of Hello Now. Ms. Tracy Lee will also feature additional speakers, including Mr. Romel Carlos, founder and CEO of Arcos, Mr. David Gomez, founder and CEO of Air Media, and Ms. Melissa Messias, co-founder and CEO of Spark Learn EdTech. Again, we are very much honored to have all of you, our dear speakers, with us today. Thank you very, very much for your support and participation. And we are truly excited to hear what you have in store for us. Through Tech Trends, the ICT Industry Development Bureau aims to continuously provide up-to-date ways for you to connect, interact, learn, and gain access to information about emerging technologies. We encourage you, our dear participants, part in this initiative and expand your knowledge of emerging technologies. Excellence will not only help us create avenues and business opportunities for Filipino ICT companies, but it will also bridge the talent gap existing in the industry, aid creatives and partners in the production of local ICT products, and link local government and national government as well as local businesses in patronizing homegrown ICT companies in the country. So we really look forward to your support and participation in today's Tech Trend sessions and in the coming sessions. Join us as we go forth for a better and more innovative digital future. Maraming salamat.
Ayan, maraming salamat po, Yusek Giselle Batapasige, for that very inspiring message from our very own ICT champion. Now, at this point, I'm sure that all of you are excited to meet our great set of speakers this afternoon. So without further ado, let me introduce our first speaker. So our first speaker is a Web3 educator and creative director who champions regional cryptocurrency adoption in the Philippines. His vast experience as a marketer and freelancer in the Web 2.0 space, spanning from companies such as Red Bull, Ayala Malls, and Ladco Pacific, all led to the creation of BitSquela, an edutech platform that focuses on helping Filipinos own a piece of the internet through multilingual inclusive crypto education. Jiro hopes that through BitSquela, he and his team will help onboard the next 110 million Filipinos onto the Web 3.0 space. So everyone, to discuss blockchain architecture in education, let's welcome my Web 3.0 brother and the founder of BitSquela, Mr. Jiro Reyes.
Hello, hello. Good afternoon. Thank you, Carlos, for that great introduction, brother. I think that's like the fourth time narinig ko na yan sa'yo. But thank you for always introducing me. Yun. So today we'll be talking about blockchain architecture, 101 and 102. So let me share that my screen real quick. Just wanted to get a feel, how is my audio, how's my video, and how is my presentation slides? All good? Please send over heart reaction if it's okay. If they're all okay. Yes, yes, yes. All good, all good. Carlos, how is it, brother?
Yep, you sound good here from my end, bro.
Solid. Okay, yeah, solid. It's happening. Miss Myrtle, DJ's here. Yes. Ang career path talaga sa DJ, the joke lang. But yeah, hello guys, we are Bitskwela, and we help Filipinos own a piece of the internet through proper education, just like what Carlos said. So I do invite everyone here in this call to check out bitsquela.com for free courses on Bitcoin and NFTs. Just create an account lang and then get a full access already to our education material in different languages. And if you guys see anything nice or anything interesting throughout the talk, please do feel free to tag us at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Bitskwela. That's BITSKWELA. Now, I want to preface everything muna by giving a quick thanks to DICT and Women in Blockchain for this opportunity to help our fellow Filipinos get educated on this technological trend, which is blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Because it's no doubt that the Philippines has been a very big player when it comes to the crypto industry over the past year. In fact, umabot po tayo ng number 2 in terms of global cryptocurrency adoption, with trading volume reaching 2 billion, NFT ownership skyrocketing to 1/3, and play-to-earn gamers reaching 1/4 of the population. Kaya lang po, ang nag-iisang problema is the sheer lack of education in the Philippines. According to the OECD, 74% of Filipinos are aware of cryptocurrencies, but a whopping 80% of which don't understand them well. So this means if I head over to Common 7-Eleven, Robinson Smalls, KFC, etc., they would probably know how to buy their first Bitcoin from PDAX, CoinsPH, Binance, Gcash, etc. But 8 out of 10 times, they don't actually understand what blockchain is, what an NFT is, or what a cryptocurrency does. And that is the gap we're trying to solve here at Bitskwela. So hi again, I'm Gio Reyes, and here for Blockchain 101. Ako po yung co-founder and CEO of Bitskwela. So you guys can also connect through me, or to me rather, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Gio Reyes SS and Gio LS_PTC. So this all leads to the question, ano nga ba ang blockchain? The golden question for this afternoon. So I've laid down some 3 possible options on what the blockchain can be. A equals chain of blocks, B equals digital ledger, and C is a system which enables cryptocurrencies. Now let's have a quick test. Alin kaya dito ang blockchain para sa inyo? A, B, o C? Sabi ni Romelin, C daw. And then C, Jerry B, Prof. Alan Burgos B, Pasig City B, B, C, B, C, B, A. Uy, may isang A, nice. All of the above, sabi ni Aleria, Christopher John, si Ryan. Yun. Okay, so actually, lahat kayo tama eh. Blockchain is A, B, and C, and everything beyond it. The blockchain is a digital ledger that stores and ties transactions happening in a cryptocurrency network. Now, just to refresh, the word ledger po is any collection of financial data that could be like your notebook, Excel sheet, or kahit yung tissue paper na pinasulat mo pinambili mo ng chicken sa KFC, diba? All of those could be considered as ledgers. Now, what do I mean by stores and ties transactions happening in a cryptocurrency network? Well, it could be visualized like this, with blocks lined up together and connected through a virtual chain in the middle, which is the chain in blockchain. Now, each block, yung square, is composed of different lines po, which are the transactions. So essentially, pwede nyo po siyang imagine na parang collection of transactions that are clustered together in the form of blocks that are also connected with other blocks. Mukha po siyang Betamax na street food, diba? Yung square, square, square. So, what this does is that since all blocks are chained together, each transaction, kahit saan siya galing, ay konektado sa iba't ibang transaksyon sa network na iyon. Now, to further illustrate this point, let's say Mark sends 2 Bitcoin to Casti on a Monday, tapos Anne sends 5 Bitcoin to Riley on a Thursday. Wow, napakayaman nila, diba? So, even though these 2 transactions were on different dates, different times, for different purposes, they're still connected to each other. Again, because of the chain in the middle of each block. Now, this is a very good thing, because since they are connected to each other, the network is way, way more secure. In a way that if any data in the blockchain of any point is tampered, destroyed, or hacked in any chance, then everything goes down with it. Now, with that vulnerability, quote-unquote, in place, that puts the blockchain in position to immediately know if there's something fishy going on. Kasi, malalaman agad. It's very different from common ledgers na pag may mali sa accounting mo, it might take a few hours or a few days pa bago malaman yung error na yun. Sa blockchain, everything will go down right away if something is broken. Hence, it can be prevented much, much sooner. Now, let's go a little deeper po on what the blockchain can look like. So we can imagine a stable of 5 people. We have Pedro, Ryan, Jerome, Darna, and Julia. So all these 5 people do not know each other. Wala po silang pakialam sa isa. They all have their own notebooks, right? Now, let's say Pedro wants to send Darna 1 Bitcoin. So, mangyari po dyan is a random lottery happens and chooses a random person on the table. So, let's say si Julie po ang lucky winner po natin ng lottery. So, what Julia does is, since she was chosen, she needs to work. Kailangan po niya magtrabaho and verify if the transaction was valid. AKA, if Pedro has enough money and if Darna can receive the Bitcoin. Check po niya kung tama po yung transaction basically. Now, after Julia has done her verification, everyone in the table has to approve the transaction. Ipapakita mo ni Julia, hey guys, ito po yung transaction proof ko. Please check everyone at everyone's Facebook chat natin, diba? So, once approved by everyone, the Bitcoin is finally sent. Now, while the Bitcoin is being sent, everyone in the table, all 5, need to write down the transaction in their own little notebooks para sure sila na same page sila sa lahat and they all have consensus. And then, after all of this is done, Julia gets the reward for doing the work in approving and verifying the transaction. Now, just a quick note, if Julia doesn't verify and mali yung ginawa niya, the lottery simply re-rolls lang. So, overall, this table of 5 was able to operate and exchange value po without a central authority governing the transactions. And in the same way, wala nangyari transaction po if no one or if there's someone, kahit isa lang, na nag-disapprove ng transaction yan. And that's a beauty para sa akin. It's an economy where participants are able to agree on a single truth without any central figure. Saan pa kayo nakitang ganun, di ba? It's pretty amazing to think. Now, this exact mechanism is what enables cryptocurrencies to move around the digital space from person to person or peer to peer. So, the blockchain is just like this. But instead of people, replace them po with hardware and software called miners po. Now, these computers help validate the transactions happening in the network. In this case po, Bitcoin po. Now take the same example on the screen and then imagine it spread across the world. Happening every 10 minutes with miners from different regions, countries, ilan libo at milyon pong miners po yan sa galing Austria, US, Canada, Japan, Norway, etc. etc. All putting transactions on the blockchain, sa lower right po, every 10 minutes, 24/7. Hindi po ito namamatay. Wala po siyang oras, wala po siyang central authority na magsabi, break time muna. It happens on a constant basis. Now, the way everything works, what we just talked about, and how it's structured is actually defined by what we call a consensus mechanism. Now, a consensus mechanism is a system used by the blockchain in order for miners to constantly agree on a single truth. Now, this is very important because miners are able to agree with other miners without a central authority. Now, an example po na pinag-usapan natin for the past 9 minutes is what we call proof of work. Now, POW is a type of consensus mechanism that relies on hardware and computational power. Ang pros po nito, it is secure and decentralized. Kaya lang ang cons, it is higher on energy consumption and is relatively slow. Now, it's called work again, just to review, because in order to be a miner, you have to make use of hardware and computational power, which is your work, quote unquote, to help prove, validate transactions. So, yung 5 miner dyan on the screen, they do their fair share of work when chosen by the random lottery. Now, in exchange for the work you give, you get Bitcoin when you validate or whatever cryptocurrency ang nasa network na yun. Now, other mechanisms involve proof of stake, proof of authority, and proof of burn. So we'll focus on these 3 for now. So proof of stake, or POS, is a type of consensus mechanism where validators stake their coins in order to participate in the network. So staking is basically like locking up your coins and tokens to contribute to a blockchain network. Isipin nyo para po kayo ng deposit sa banko. That's pretty much staking, but in a crypto sense, if that makes sense. So, ang pros po nito, it is cheaper and faster. Pero ang cons po nito, it's less decentralized and there are lockup periods when you stake. So instead of using or needing hardware and computers to be a miner in the network, all you need to do is to buy and hold the cryptocurrency. So dito, for example, you deposit the cryptocurrencies onto their smart contracts, again, called staking. Now, once you do that, you get to be a miner now, automatically. Now, people are incentivized to be a miner and do honest and efficient work dito. Because the chances of you being chosen as a validator or miner per transaction gets higher as your stake tokens are higher. Kasi diba, let's back up a little, when you get chosen as a validator or miner sa isang network, meron po kayo na-earn na pera, diba? Na cryptocurrency. Now, yung earnings na yun could be compounded on your current holdings na nakastake, which increases your chances of being chosen as a miner in the next transactions. So on and so forth. Para po siyang feedback loop. You earn tokens, mine, earn, mine, earn, mine, earn. So hanggang mayaman ka na, diba? Right? So that is sort of the incentive for holding and participating in a POS system. Now, POA, or Proof of Authority naman, is a mechanism where validators are chosen based on the reputation and social status. Para po siyang popularity contest, frankly. So, pros po nito, it is cheaper again and faster. Kaya lang cons, it is less decentralized and it is not as accessible compared to POS and POW. Now, kasi here, in order to be a validator, you need to put your name on the line. Ang pangalan mo talaga ang tinataya mo dito. How it works is only a number of miners are chosen. And these miners have to be vouched and have an established name dun po sa network tayo yun. Now, there's a reliability threshold in which the network follows. If you fall under that threshold, you lose your spot as a miner. In that way, validators are incentivized to do honest work to maintain reputation, of course, if they want to keep earning money in that network. And the fourth one is proof of burn, or POB. So, dito, basically, you have to burn tokens in order to be a miner. Depende po to on how much you sacrifice na cryptocurrency. Now, pros po ito are cheaper and centralized, and cons, it is a very, very, very young consensus mechanism compared to POW, POS, and POA. Now, how this works is example, let's say Carlos, brother, you burn 5 tokens, right, of, let's say, Giro coin. Meron ka na yung Giro coin, you burn 5 Giro coins. But, sino mo dito? Let's say si Myrtle na lang. Si Myrtle, nag-burn siya ng 10 tokens ng Giro coin, di ba? Now, Carlos and Myrtle, pareho po kayo magiging miners since you both burn tokens. But Myrtle burned more tokens. 10 po yung binurn niya po niya na Giro coin. Which in turn means that she has higher chances of validating transactions in the network. Thus, higher chances of earning in this network. Now, this also incentivizes higher scarcity of the token because of less supply equals, at least in theory, higher price. Now, all this actually is just one layer of the burger when it comes to blockchain architecture. In reality, there is what we call blockchain architecture or the underlyings of blockchain na kailangan po para gumana ang isang blockchain. Now, this is often overlooked and minsan hindi siya pinapansin, but it's very, very important to know. So everything we just talked about is here sa may pangalawa na layer, which is consensus layer. Now, let's go through each one by one real quick lang. So hardware layer, ito po ang network of participants or the nodes and the miners that contribute to the network. These can be computers or stake coins, again, depending on the type of consensus mechanism employed. Now, on top of the hardware layer, we have the data layer. Now, these are where the details of transactions are stored in, right? The blocks, the information, the cryptography, keys, hashes, Merkle trees, etc. Dito po yung mga medyo algorithmic and mathematics stuff na basically the layer where the information is and where it is stored. Now, the third one is the network layer. Now, this one enables the communication between the nodes in the hardware layer po. So, ito po yung parang siya po yung globe and smart na mga nodes dun sa hardware layer natin. And number 4 is consensus mechanism or consensus layer, which is what you talked about earlier. the protocol and the rules on how the validators operate in the network. And number five is application layer. So this is where the applications are built on. We have wallets, social media applications, browsers, DeFi apps, and NFT platforms, so on and so forth. Difference po dito is the decentralized nature of data storage, na of course due to the blockchain. So it is, you can imagine like an app store in a way, pero decentralized po siya. Hindi po siya centralized sa Apple company or let's say Samsung company. So the fact is, everything is constantly evolving from consensus mechanisms to how blockchains are built on a daily basis. Now, it's very important to keep a constant eye out when looking and participating in the Web3 space. Now, wait one quick break lang para makainom ng tubig lang din. Quick reminder, we will have a Q&A later. So kung meron po kayong questions or whatnot on anything blockchain, please feel free to store them lang and ask them later on. Yeah, thank you. So, when it comes to the main properties naman of blockchains, you have three main properties. Number one is decentralization. So, this means that there's no one controlling party or entity sa mga blockchain po, at least in theory. Now, it's completely opposite to the centralized systems today we have, like governments, banks, organizations. Because Web3 and blockchain is owned by the people, as they say. Now, this has lots of benefits such as less vulnerabilities, transparency, and efficiency. Now, one example I like using here is what happened, excuse me, dun sa Afghanistan last year, right? Basically, what happened is they were invaded by the Taliban. And the Taliban attacked the banks. They destroyed the banks, killed the personnel, and whatnot. In turn, when they destroyed the banks, people of the country were not able to access their money anymore. Right? So this is a perfect example of how these points of failure dun sa mga centralized systems natin can act as huge roadblocks when it comes to living and whatever economic reasons para sa mga tao natin, right? With a decentralized ecosystem or economy, there will no be one point of failure. Hence, we will not experience, or at least in theory, not experience those same roadblocks or shenanigans moving forward. Number two is permissionless. So here, has equal access to Web3. Whether you're from America, Taiwan, Japan, China, Germany, kahit anong age mo, kahit anong gender mo, kahit anong sex mo, no one is to participate in the Web3 scene. Now this again, very different from centralized systems on which they can enforce their own preferences with people. And lastly, number three, it enables native payments. So this naman refers to cryptocurrencies themselves, because cryptocurrencies can be sent to another person through the internet in the blink of an eye. Now note po, this was never possible in the history of mankind before 2008. Through blockchain, na-explore po yung ibang capabilities of the internet through sa invention of blockchain ni Satoshi Nakamoto back then. Because right now, we have, of course, you have PayPal, we have BDO, we have debit cards, credit cards. Pero lahat po ito, kahit mapalis po sila, you still need a middleman. Through blockchain, nagkagawa po ito without any central authority, central figure, or whatnot. Again, it is decentralized and power spread across the different people, participants in the network. So, yun lang naman. That's it for today, December 7th. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Again, this has been Bitsuela, and I do hope that you guys found value in my talk. Now, if you guys want to learn more about blockchain and crypto, please do join our Facebook group at Bitsuela PH. And of course, get in touch with us at Bitsuela on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and TikTok. And kay sa akin mismo, GRS, double S, 0LS underscore BTC for Twitter naman. Thank you guys, and good afternoon.
Ayan, maraming salamat, Gino. Sure, learned a lot and solid, solid bro kasi I'm sure that what you guys are doing contributed to us being number two into adoption globally. And thank you for helping bring down the digit of the time by creating digital materials. No? Maraming salamat talaga. Okay, so
My love,
now, no problem. Now it's time for us to head on to our next speaker. She's the founder of BlockTides, an award-winning blockchain, crypto, DeFi, NFT, IoT, AI, and metaverse PR firm, and a scholar graduate of Draper University for blockchain and entrepreneurship powered by Tezos. She's currently an advisor for many blockchain and tech companies, and now leading as the co-founder of a gamified and open internet culture metaverse called PlaceWar. This afternoon, she will be discussing the future of gaming and tackle trends on blockchain, metaverse, and NFT 2022. So without further ado, let's give a warm round of applause to the CEO, founder, and commander of Block Titan PlaceWar, Ms. Myrtle Ramos.
Hello, Carlos. What a great introduction. Can you hear me?
Yes, all good from our end, po, Ms. Myrtle.
Okay, so if you can hear me, guys, please press hashtag DICT, especially for the to those viewing on your Facebook Live. So this is very interesting. This is the first time that I'm going to actually introduce you guys the future of gaming, metaverse, blockchain, and NFT trends. Because there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to the games, what's really happening, the blockchain gaming out there. And yeah, let's get it on. So you can see my screen, right?
Yep, we can see your screen, po, Ms. Myrtle.
How about this? Is it moving?
Yes, yes.
All right. So, blockchain for gaming still remain anonymous as we haven't been discussing the topic so widely. You can just see influencers just posting about games, about the NFTs that they're actually vouching for, but at the same time, this is actually a responsibility for everyone because this involves the money of people. Okay, so till date, of course, the studies and research conducted in blockchain mainly focus on how it actually correlates in cryptocurrency. So I will determine later, I will actually introduce you later what's happening, where this actually, what's the difference between Web 2 and Web 3 gaming, why there's a lot of games already being published in CoinMarketCap. And pardon me with my voice, I've already been speaking with many of them. So, yeah, thank you so much. So blockchain technology and the future of video games. I know every one of you actually played a lot of games. We already have like Farmville, especially my aunt, my mother is playing Candy Crush. We all love games, right? So it's all about actually escaping reality for me. I don't know if it's the same for you to be able to actually stress all of your stress will melt down once you actually play a game, right? So it's actually our escaping our daily lives out of our work in day to day, right? So of course, this one I will tackle what is it. So let's actually do a throwback when it comes to blockchain for gaming. So you can definitely go ahead and see all of the tech giants um, building, especially well known in the space in the Web 2, like Tencent, PUBG. I don't know if it's PUBG or League of Legends, but yeah. So these are the tech giants well known in the Web 2 space. So we understand that it's never been the place or the first place widely discussed by the tech giants. But if you're actually go through and study all about game tech, you'll understand what I mean. That's the reason why they're all jumping now in Web 3. They saw the gold mine already. And of course, I'll be tackling what's really in it for them and of course the players for us to definitely do that. So you can see blockchain for gaming. It says here that you can see the investments flowing in inside the game industry or the GameFi industry. This is actually from the operator. So the operator, if you're not familiar, you can check it out. All of the NFT games are there when it comes to the analytics for blockchain gaming. Okay, so what's in it? So presence as a state of mind, of course, as a phenomenon has looked at the nature of being of course it's for us to actually question, is it for me to get away from our own reality or our own existence? Why are we doing this? Is it just for the money? And at the same time, is it all about the experience? Do we want to actually experience a different experience outside our reality? So of course, realism versus escapism. This is actually the study of games. I want to emphasize why are we doing this, right? So of course, video games has been assessed with the escapism. So of course, they're categorized in two major reasons. You can see here that there's a lot of video games. Why are daughters and sons actually playing Roblox, buying Robux? So it's already metaverse, guys. So it's already, it's not, they're not using still Web3, but you'll never know one day they're using blockchain technology already. So, of course, blockchain technology behind a lot of blockchains, when it comes to Ethereum, BSC, or Binance Smart Chain, these are associated with a lot of things. At the same time, value and scarcity. So we need to emphasize currency has existed within centuries, right? So at the same time, it's being traded already, bartered. Just imagine golds being bartered before, way back 1,000 years ago. So the bartering system evolved into currency. We all have this peso now. We all have this Japan yen, US dollar. Of course, rather than bartering, of course, money provides mechanism. So this is the thought here. So it's really happening historically because it's all connected in the present moment that we have. So of course, when it comes to this, this is the Web2 gaming ecosystem. So let me check if we can still, you can still see my screen, right? Web2 gaming ecosystem. Is that right? Okay. So Web2 gaming ecosystem. This is the way back before blockchain. So you can see here game developers, game publishers, software developers, esports, gaming arenas, up until the distributors and retailers. But in the Web3 gaming, there's a lot. So there's a lot of opportunities already when it comes to Web3 gaming up until here the streaming services DAO. What is DAO? So this is actually a decentralized autonomous organization. So what is it? So wag muna tayong gumugawang inyong guys. So this the basic analogy for DAO. So we all know the we all know the voting system that we have. It's all centralized, right? But here, when it comes to game economies, you can understand you actually fully have the right in the ecosystem itself. For example, in our game, Place War, you have our place token. You have the right to actually say anything when it comes to the voting that's happening inside our ecosystem or our economy. Basically, it's having your say when it comes to everything instead of being centralized, not knowing the truth behind all of the votes. Of course, this is the best for us to actually make an analogy of it. So you can see here in the Web3 gaming ecosystem, every game has its own marketplace already. And other games also are dependent when it comes to the marketplaces outside, like Binance NFT marketplace and other marketplaces such as OpenSea. So these are the best explanations for that. And fans economy. So this can be integrated already. For example, you have a favorite esports team and they can actually be onboarded already with this platform or influencer platform that can be integrated with this game already. It's all possible. It's actually interoperability. That's the word. So you can just search it. So aggregators, what are our aggregators, guys? So aggregators are basically the platforms wherein the game is not yet launched, and they will actually launch it. So all of the influencers will be there. There's investment opportunity. I'm not a financial advisor, by the way, but in aggregators, you can definitely go ahead and get allocations when it comes to the tokens that they have. So this is not a financial advice. So don't take this upon me, guys. Okay. So SDK game plugins. What are plugins? So basically, this one are the plugins that you can integrate in such case, and at the same time, Launchpad. So Launchpad, there's a lot of Launchpads already. not just for cryptocurrencies, but also for NFTs, for the game assets, the in-game assets, and of course wallets. What are the types of wallets? So I'll name a few. It's Trust Wallet and MetaMask. So you can definitely go ahead and integrate the apps already inside a game. PSP, so it's profile picture guide. If you're all familiar with Avatar inside the game, there's a lot of companies out there already providing avatars with great utility when it comes to blockchain gaming. At the same time, DeFi, decentralized finance, you can go ahead and stake and earn passive income. Again, this is not a financial advice, but it's best for me to actually introduce you guys to this reality, what's happening in this space. So you can see the DAO, the landscape, thanks to the source that I got from Google. So basically, these are the companies, not complete, but of course, there's hundreds of companies already being built in the blockchain ecosystem. So what are the type of games? Free to play. So if you'll notice the ones that we're promoting in block size, spider tanks, you don't need to pay anything for you to be able to play spider tanks. So basically all you have to do is log in using your email address and password and you can definitely play and earn. Again, it's up to you. If you want to upgrade, you can purchase NFTs. The second one is play to earn, which requires for you an initial investment and at the same time cloud gaming. So blockchain gaming ecosystem, I know this one is basically removing all of the middleman. Instead of the cash flow going to the publishers, it's being distributed to the players. Okay. So the frameworks on creating a game. So I'm not going to teach you how to be a developer. I'll be skipping this. So how blockchain can improve the gaming industry? There's a lot. So you can see basically here that blockchain gaming can definitely help when it comes to the in-game items that we have. So if you're a gamer, you'll understand in-game items. If you have a daughter and son, you can understand also uh, your salary will flow or will go to the Roblox. Your daughter will ask you to purchase it for them. So that's in-game items. And at the same time, this can definitely go ahead and secure the game assets for security. But there's a big question. Why is it being hacked? Why there's actually a recent news about the hacks? Basically, guys, it's all about the blockchain that you're going to trust. So make sure it's still unknown. Of course, it's still up to you which blockchain you're gonna trust, basically, because again, this is not a financial advice. It's still up to your own due diligence when it comes to participating or supporting projects and companies in the Web3. So, of course, the characteristics of gaming industry. So yes, you need money to play popular games. Well, some of these games allow player to accumulate digital gold. So way back, I'm actually playing League of Legends. I'm just buying skins, and at the same time, it's just going to be there. You cannot actually pull it out. Unlike in the Web3, the best example, once you actually have that asset, you can definitely go ahead and sell that to other marketplaces instead of just one platform. Okay, so players may play many games, and there's a lot of games out there who's still in an experimental stage. So please be careful, okay? And especially the similar concepts that they just actually this is actually the reality in all of the projects. Once you actually saw someone building this game, for example, Axie Infinity, all of them are actually building the same thing. So also like in the old traditional businesses that we have, Sanggipsal business, they're all gonna do the same thing as well. For example, me, I'm in the marketing. They're all gonna be in the marketing industry and events industry already. So basically, be unique when if you're a developer out there or an aspiring entrepreneur. Make sure you want to build something unique and out of the market. It's use your creativity. Don't imitate anyone just because it's hype. So build something unique, build something that you want to do and you love. It's all about ikigai here. So of course, Here you can see here that gamers are becoming the new economies. Yes, we are a lot. We have billions of gamers all around the world, and at the same time, you can definitely customize your digital assets when it comes to interoperability that I actually am explaining earlier. And at the same time, the rise of community. This is not about the game publishers anymore or the big tech company. It's all about the players. So it's not just happening in gaming. So this is actually the way for us to have a mass adoption when it comes to blockchain technology. Blockchain technology is not just one way. It's not just about gaming. It's all about the utility that can actually help when it comes to the healthcare that we have, when it comes to the digital currencies that we have, the documents that we have, and of course, we are experiencing challenges. Regulations. So regulations and understanding the impact of crypto is still a gray area here in the Philippines. We all know that. And the impact on the world using carbon footprints. And at the same time, sustainability. Sustainability when it comes to tokenomics. And of course, at the same time, the founders' journey when it comes to sustaining their company, when it comes to managing people, it's not easy. And at the same time, will the hype continue? Yes, it will. It will. The reality in investments, there's a lot of investors really aping into the gaming industry. So what are the advantage? You can see here all of the advantage that you can see when it comes to blockchain technology. So we believe the type of gaming platforms will mostly be led by the community. Of course, players can buy, own, and trade their digital collectibles inside the game. So actually, my investor told me the next Axie will not be like Axie anymore. So this is the time to build in this space, especially in what's happening in the market right now. So of course, this is the past and the present. You can see the flow of everything when it comes to the cash and items, the in-game items that I actually mentioned earlier, and at the same time the game's ecosystem. But the present moment, you can see that it's actually being built and the circulation is actually equal. So you can see here that the flow of money and the flow of everything goes to the players and the community. And at the same time, it all boils down to the dividends, to the revenue sharing. And yeah, that's what you are actually seeing behind the scenes when it comes to the games that you're playing. So gaming is the tipping point for mass adoption. So experts says, I'm gonna close it off, of course, the real first use case for blockchain is gaming, which happened already last year because of Axie Infinity. Grateful that Axie Infinity actually opened a lot of doors for a lot of game developers, players, for them to actually um, have the things that they deserve when it comes to building and creating something. So, of course, experts says that this is just the beginning, and at the same time, how gaming navigates the remaining hurdles. We're gonna keep on building, of course. At the same time, conclusion, blockchain belongs behind the scenes. It's actually how the developers, the founders, the entrepreneurs out there gonna make a seamless platform that is not actually seen that blockchain technology is being used already. So you'll never know. You're actually using an app being built by blockchain technology, and of course, gaming is a proving ground for the future and blockchain. Gaming is just a learning tool for everyone, not just for blockchain, but for other applications as well. Of course, with blockchain, by the way, guys, just a piece of advice, real money is at stake, but of course, it's still wrapped inside a game. The perfect place is actually for us to check blockchain's first mass adoption using gaming, and I'll actually close it here. Everything will be tokenized and connected by a blockchain one day by Fred Ursa. And at the same time, the best advice, I'm also a life coach, by the way. Life is a game, just play it. Don't be serious. Make sure your story is worth telling. And at the same time, you only got one shot in this existence. Thank you so much, everyone.
Wow, sobrang solid. What a discussion. Thank you, Miss Myrtle. And just by seeing all the reactions here in Zoom, I'm sure all of our participants learned a lot and enjoyed that, Commander Myrtle. Especially that GameFi and Play to Earn has taken the Philippines by storm. Diba, wouldn't you guys agree? Daming heart and clap reacts. Maraming salamat po, Miss Myrtle, for giving us an inside look in the world of GameFi and Play to Earn. Since we're on the topic of NFTs, which has been inescapable recently, yun bang, there's no day in the week that you wouldn't hear the word NFTs, maybe from your friends or in the news. I think it's high time that we meet our third speaker. Our third speaker is the co-founder and CEO of Likha, an NFT marketplace for Filipino brands, businesses, and artists. He's also working on some of the pioneering real estate and retail blockchain projects as the co-founder of Bayani Chain. On the side, he is also an avid angel investor in Web 2 and Web 3.0. So everyone, let's give it up for the CEO of Likha and Bayani Chain, Mr. Jello Wong.
Hi. Can everyone hear me properly?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Let me just share my screen. So this is basically, a brief overview of really what are the current use cases and what I believe personally is the future use cases of NFTs in the coming years. In the next 2 to 5 years. So before I begin, I wanna ask, parang, what is how are you guys familiar with NFTs by any chance? Can you just heart react na lang so that we can see a quick survey? Ayun, there's a couple. I'm sure most of you were introduced by NFTs through gaming, through crypto. But generally, it definitely came from Axie Infinity, which I'll talk a little bit more about. Um, so today, I want to talk about non-fungible tokens. And before we begin, I want to give a disclaimer that this is not financial advice. Anything I say here is my personal opinion. So please do take it with a grain of salt. Definitely continue to do your research through Bitsquela and many other resources online. First, let's talk about non-fungible tokens. So what that basically means, no, it truly represents an ownership of a unique item. So from the word fungible, fungible means replaceable. Meaning pwede siyang palitan to a different entity, right? So with the word non-fungible, it means unique. And what that means is basically it really solidifies the uniqueness of one object or one token, right? So let's do a thought experiment. No? And why are NFTs so relevant? And that's my co-founder. I'm having a thought. Sorry, guys. Anyways, so why are NFTs so important and so relevant in today's um, generation, right? So I wanna do a quick survey. I'll give it about 2 minutes. So can you tell the difference between these two Mona Lisa artworks? Siguro a minute lang. Pero I'm guessing most of you will probably say na there's no actual difference, right? And at its first face value and on the surface level, there isn't any difference talaga. But if we look deeper into it, right? One is a copy per se in Lazada, and the other is the actual painting in the museum. But see, then you see the difference in value. From there, you start to see na, oh, the one in Lazada, the reprint, is worth about, what, 480 pesos. And the other one is priceless, hundreds of millions of dollars in value, right? So, same thing now with NFTs. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Board Ape Yacht Club, these different profile pictures which are worth 5 million and above, right? So here I have a rare Board Ape Yacht Club, right? So the general question is, can I just right click and save the photo, right? Um, and here's the problem with that, right? And why non fungible tokens are so valuable. So one is saved in your PC, so you can do whatever you want with it. You can print it, you can make it your wallpaper, whatever it may be. But the other one is stored in the blockchain, where someone else actually owns the intellectual property rights to it, right? So then you start to see the value once again. The one that you saved is essentially worthless. You can't really sell off this image or this digital identity, but the other one is worth 50 million pesos, right? So that's where the contrast between non-fungible tokens and you know JPEGs are really completely different, right? And so I want to now talk about the different types and use cases of NFTs. So the first one is profile picture NFTs. So there has been a lot of celebrities, influencers, and even businessmen who have ventured into the NFT space through profile pictures. So this is one of the most prominent for the Black Club. The current floor price is about $90,000, close to 5 million pesos, right? And from there, people really use this as their digital identity, and they also are able to sell merch with their board games, right? So, for example, you want to sell a shirt for 500 pesos. You put your board ape on there, and people will start collecting it. And that's where you start to generate income from the NFTs that you own. And that's where intellectual property really comes in. The next are utility-based NFTs. So an example here is Be Friends by Gary Vaynerchuk. So Gary Vaynerchuk is a multi-million dollar entrepreneur, a motivational speaker, a guy who really focuses on hustle and drive. And he has amassed a big fan base through TikTok, through YouTube, through Facebook, through Instagram, right? And so then he released a set of NFTs. Now, what do these NFTs come with, right? It comes with the fact that you're able to stay intimate with Gary Vaynerchuk. So, for example, you want to ask advice from him. There's this one NFT which you can purchase where you can FaceTime him 5 minutes every month. There's also another NFT where you receive a gift every month personally from Gary Vaynerchuk. So these are some valuable experiences that you know not everyone will get to experience, and that's where the value of NFTs come in, and that's what truly drives its value. Next, we have collectible NFTs. So who among here collects playing cards like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, mga NBA trading cards? I'm sure a lot of you have been through that phase or are still currently in that phase, right? So now, a perfect example of it is really NBA Top Shot. So NBA turned some of the best highlights of these players and turned it into an NFT. So it's a video clip, but you own it, right? And now that's where the memorabilia comes in, right? Now it's digital, now it's videos, now it's something that is playable. And the beauty of it is you wouldn't have to worry about conditions, whether it's damaged, putting a protective seal, getting what's the term for that? Yung authentication services, right? Because then everything is stored on the blockchain. Like what Myrtle and Jiro were explaining, na the blockchain is essentially unhackable, and everything can be traced, and everyone's accountable for what they own and what they send out. So that's where the value of NBA Top Shot comes in, where you're able to hold these moments of these different players or whichever you're a fan of, and really, uh, treasure that, cherish it, and ultimately sell it in the future or inherit it to your kids. Next, we have metaverse NFTs. I know metaverse has been a buzzword for over probably a year or 2 years now, and in fact, Facebook even changed their name to Meta. So the metaverse is basically another term for an alternative universe, and like what Myrtle was saying, it's an escape of reality, right? So people use NFTs as one of their main platforms to really issue out access to these metaverses. So, for example, we have here Sandbox, one of the biggest platforms in terms of metaverses. They've partnered with different brands already, such as Atari, Nike, and all these big brands, right? And ultimately, it enhances the digital community and social experiences where you can connect with different people across the globe. Next, we have social good NFTs. So we have there's another form of NFTs where the ultimate objective is really to fundraise for a cause or for a movement. So, for example, the one that you're seeing here on my left is World of Women. So this was formed by a nonprofit organization, and what they basically did was they launched a project related to empowering women. The funds that they use today is to really support abused women, women who have their rights being held against, basically creating events surrounding women empowerment, women in tech, women in blockchain, and all of those things. Another example on the right is one of our personal projects. It's called Save Our Sharks. So in the Boomerang Awards, the advertising agency awards here in the Philippines, it won about 7 awards this year. And what it basically did was it raised funds for our endangered sharks, which is about 200 species. And see, this is where a lot of the value of NFTs come from. You're able to raise money not only locally but even around the world. Anyone that stands by your advocacy can easily purchase this NFT, represent it, and ultimately, really deliver their money or their donation or their impact directly to the whoever is fundraising that money. And lastly, and I think um, this is probably the most important one and the one that I truly want to highlight. It's really document NFTs. So the founder of the concept of NFTs, or rather Ethereum, is Vitalik. So he owns, or well, he co-founded the Ethereum space, and he mentioned that the true intentions for building NFTs were really to digitalize traditional contracts like land titles, deed of sales, business documents, and this is where it will truly come to life. So right now we're enjoying it as a form of entertainment, as a form of retail consumption. But in the future, I am seeing different governments across the globe using the technology of NFTs to really provide digitalized certificates. Now, what are some of these advantages? No? So generally, when you receive a land title or deed of sale, right? If that gets lost, there's really no way to prove it other than that piece of paper. But with document NFTs, since again the blockchain is super secured, even 100 years from now, you're still able to access it, and you're able to hand this down to multiple generations, from your kids, your kids' kids, to so on and so forth. And that's truly the beauty of non-fungible tokens. So I want to talk about quickly, the global adoption in terms of NFTs. So the first one is in relation to crypto. As of 2021, we estimated, global crypto ownership and usage rates at an average of 3.9%. So this is about 300 million crypto users worldwide. So if you're asking me, are you late to the game? I think you're still pretty early. It's still a small percentage of users, but these are the early adopters and real good users. Oh, sorry. Next, at its peak with NFT trading, the weekly trading volume hit about $1 billion. Right now, it's floating at about 30 to 40 million dollars, which is still a big amount in terms of value. And so that's really exciting statistics to really look into and really analyze. Next, let's talk about specifically the Philippines. Though. Why should you join the NFT movement, or the crypto movement and the blockchain movement in general, right? And really just dive into it and learn. So the first one is, in terms of crypto users, there's an estimated of over 4.3 million users in the Philippines based on the total population who currently own cryptocurrency. On the list of nations, in terms of NFT adoption, surprisingly, the Philippines ranks first. About 32% of Filipino internet users own at least one NFT, and about 9.5% are planning to buy one. So this is one of the biggest crazes that's gonna happen. Like back in 2012, right? Um, they mentioned that we are the social media capital of the world. And I think there's no doubt that we will become the blockchain capital and NFT capital of the world as well. So that's very exciting insights. So then let's talk about what has been happening. So about a year ago, um, local brands started accepting SLP payments. So for context, SLP is a form of token from Axie Infinity. Um, so now these brands started this craze where you can pay them through these SLPs. So what's interesting is that when a company announces that they started, you know, they start accepting SLPs as a form of payment, their sales increased to about 30 to 40%, which is a huge jump, especially during the pandemic. This all happened at the height of the pandemic, and that's what's very, one of the surprising insights for me, and one of the reasons why I truly jumped into this space. And then from there, we also have some different brands who are starting to issue out NFTs. So personally, um, just a little bit of background for myself. I also work for Bayani Chain. I'm a co-founder there, and I'm a managing director for investments. We do have another company that we co-founded. It's called R Wards. So R Wards is basically your Web3 Wards hub. So they're able to analyze data from customers, what they consume, in an anonymous manner. And the beauty of it really is most people they're afraid for their personal data, right? That generally people dislike Facebook for making them the product to these businesses, right? But with us, we keep it completely anonymous and we're able to analyze different data. So just recently, we secured some of the biggest partners so far, like Utopia and SM MOA, Bakeby and Aura and MOA, Dessert Museum and MOA. Then we also have some of the best restaurants in the Philippines, Mesa, Timoa, and Hawker Chan, Liao Liao, Bench Cafe, Brew Bourbon, Pound. So we have so many brands to onboard, and soon enough you'll start seeing them in malls. Lastly, I also want to set an example for UnboxCon. So they launched an NFT ticket. So this is like a super VIP ticket. When you purchase this NFT, it forms as your entry, and also you get a bunch of freebies as well. So an NFT ticketing system is something ideal for concerts in the future. So that when you do purchasing systems and really, when you actually use the NFT in the concert, it's actually going to be a seamless process, hopefully. So this is a very exciting phase for NFTs today. So lastly, I just want to talk about some successful use cases by Likha as well. One of the companies I co-founded. So first is retail NFTs. So we already did a test run to launch NFTs that have lifetime discounts and perks. And ultimately, it encouraged number one, lower customer acquisition cost, and number two, it encouraged a higher customer lifetime value and customer retention. So it does not only benefit the consumer, but it also benefits different businesses. Next, we have real estate entities. So soon we will be launching Nest 3. So Nest 3 is a resort that's being built in Subic. And from there, we will be launching membership NFTs where you get free nights every year. So you can send these to your family, to your friends. And what's nice about it is that you have it completely secured within the blockchain. Lastly, I already mentioned this example, NFTs for good. So it's conservation efforts for endangered sharks. We can do this for different advocacies. And, so before I close, right, I want to talk about briefly, I want to talk briefly about what Likha does. So basically, we onboard different Web2 brands, businesses, brands, and artists into the space. We also do charitable projects like Save Our Sharks, as mentioned. So if any of you are interested to get your business on board or get yourself on board or also even raise funds for anything that might be interesting and that might help an advocacy push forward for their future, you may contact us down below. And yeah, thank you again for listening to my quick talk. And thank you also to Myrtle, Jiro, my co-speakers for sharing some of their amazing insights. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir Jello, for giving our viewers on what NFTs and the different use cases NFTs can have across, different industries. Guys, no, sobrang nakaka-excite on what a Web 3.0 enabled Philippines will eventually look like. And I just really want to say thank you, Likha, for helping us build that reality. Support local tayo dyan. All right, so before we head on to the next part of the program, let's first have a short break so you can stretch up a little and freshen up, maybe grab a cup of coffee. We'll see you guys in 5 minutes. All right, welcome back to the intermediate session of Tech Trends, the blockchain track. Just a few reminders again before we proceed. This event is currently being live streamed at the DICT IIDB Facebook page. We encourage you guys to share it with your colleagues, friends, and family, and please help us promote the event by using the hashtag TechTrends. Also, should you have any comments or questions, please feel free to chat in the Q&A box of the Zoom room or in the comment section of our Facebook Live. And lastly, please stay tuned for the evaluation form to be shared after the event. Certificates with the intermediate session badge of the blockchain track will be given to those who will successfully accomplish the evaluation form after the event. All right, I hope you're all pumped up for more. Let me see those heart emojis, clap emojis if you're excited to learn more about blockchain. Ayan. All 334 of you, thank you for staying here in our Zoom. And of course, to our viewers on Facebook, we wanted to say hello lang rin. So for the next part, we will hear more about blockchain from different blockchain experts and enthusiasts. So you may type in your questions in the chat box now. To help us introduce our panelists and moderate the discussion, we have a certified blockchain solutions architect with 4 years of experience in Web3 and 20 years in software development. Everyone, let's welcome the technical manager of Save Finance, Miss Tracy Lee.
Thank you, Carlos. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, Miss Tracy, we can hear you all well.
All right, good afternoon to everyone. I'm Tracy Lee, and I'm so excited to moderate our panel today. And to participants, make sure to send in your questions, and we'll try to address them later. So, we have a few notable people to add to the roster of our panel. First of all, let me introduce the CEO of Arcus, Mr. Romel Carlos. Mr. Carlos is very much skilled in innovation development, business operations, big data, and data analytics. Let's give it up for Sir Romel.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to be part of this panel discussion. I'm very excited to share my knowledge with you.
Nice to have you here, Romel. Sir Romel. All right. So up next is the CEO and founder of Air Media NFT, and an end-to-end. It's an end-to-end Web3 NFT studio and a Web3 marketing company, which launched the very first NFT gallery here in Manila. Interesting. And everyone, please give a hand to Mr. David Gomez.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you. Nice to have you here. And last but not the least, we have the CEO and founder of SparkLearn EdTech, an online upskilling platform for blockchain technology and Web3. She is an experienced speaker for the Communication Skills Training Program, Career Upskilling or Reskilling, and Blockchain Technology. She is also one of the founders of Arbay ICT Association and a member of the Philippine Association of Communication Educators, PACE. Let's all welcome Ms. Melissa Macias.
Okay, so it's a good afternoon to everybody here. Can everybody hear me? Is my audio good? So just give a heart emoji if you can hear me properly. So yeah, I'm Melissa Macias, the CEO of SparkLearn EdTech. So thank you for having me here at Tech Trends.
All right. And thank you, Melissa. And at this point, I would like to call back on stage Ms. Myrtle Ramos, Sergio Reyes, and Jello Wong to join us in the discussion on blockchain education, gaming, and NFTs.
Hi guys. Afternoon.
Hi guys.
Good afternoon.
Right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So so we're gonna generally talk about or extend the discussion of our industry, which is Web3. Yeah, we all know that Web3 is the next iteration of the web, wherein we have Web 1. It's the birth of the static websites, the search engines, Google's, Yahoo, MSN, and right now we are in the Web 2 era, which gave birth to social media and cloud computing. But right now we are also in the important phase. We are about to enter the era of decentralization, self-sovereignty, and the creative economy, which is Web 3. Right. So my question to you guys, would you kindly share your insight about the present state of our industry, the Web3? Anyone would like to go first? Maybe Sir Romel?
Okay, I was about to unmute. I'll start. Okay, so what's my currently take with the current Web3, right? So Web3 is actually, we're still on the early stage of the Web3. A lot of us is still working on the different use cases, and one of the that recently trended was the GameFi, right? So right now there's still a lot of questions on how we can make it more sustainable when it comes to liquidity, and how we can really make it more or get the mass adoption from our community, and remove the stigma that Web3 or crypto is a scam, right? So right now it's really the battle of giving the right product to our community, and making sure that what we're building has a strong foundation when it comes to business model, sustainability, and liquidity. So for me, that's currently what we're really putting a lot of effort to study and applying in our project.
Right. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share their insights about where we are right now in the Web3 industry?
I think I'll chime in the Sir Romel's answer. So I agree with it that Web3 is still in the early stages. And this is the season. If anyone wants to enter the industry, it's the right time to do so. As said by the speakers a while ago, by Jiro, by Myrtle, and by Jalo, it's early and you can still join us if you want to build here, and we really need more builders so we can have more knowledgeable people in this space, and in order to combat the misconceptions and the stigma surrounding blockchain technology and use.
Okay, I would just like to add that I think right now it's the best time for brands and businesses to come into the Web3. So in the past few months, we've been talking to a lot of businesses. One of them, it's a use case scenario similar to what Jello said earlier about retail. So Ban Mi Kitchen, it's a Vietnamese food franchise here in the Philippines. They have around 70 branches. So we tried onboarding them and tried to create this NFT for their brand. So one of the utilities would be you can use the NFT as a consumable in their branches. This is nationwide. So we're slowly starting to feel and see brands and businesses really they're now interested in Web3 and NFTs. And there's a lot in the pipeline, Gold's Gym, LS Motorverse Vans, and a lot of brands. So I think right now it's not really the profitability that they're really interested in, but more on being relevant, creating new marketing tactics, and trying to get into the space as early as now. So expect more brands to come in probably in the next few years. And the advantage there is if there are more brands inside, there will be a mass acceptance from brands and mass adoption, brand adoption. It will attract more users and it will establish legitimacy for every one of us. And of course, create revenue for all of those businesses and brands in the future. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect
I
time
want
for
to
me
add
to.
on that. Oh,
Oh,
sorry. Who's that?
me.
Yeah, it's
Jello.
Angelo.
But you can go ahead. Sige. I'll go ahead. Yeah, I think it's a perfect time for me to segue in. I think David and I, we've been talking, and there's a lot of synergy between what we're doing, and I think one of the main reasons also why these businesses and brands are so interested right now is because um, even despite the bear market, what we truly bank on is not really the prices. What we're banking on really is the tech, and that's truly the foundation of anything that revolves around blockchain and crypto. So there are bigger companies over us that have been working behind the scenes to launch different blockchain and NFT related projects. So a perfect example is Starbucks. So like Starbucks is converting their rewards card into an NFT, and we also are starting to see Nike getting heavily involved within the space, and even Disney. Disney is planning to build a metaverse and is also starting to use it in their theme parks as well. So there's a lot of value within the tech alone, and it's not necessarily a investing for short-term profits, but instead investing for long-term tech innovation. So yeah, that's it for me.
So adding on this, so actually I want to speak for the startups here in the Philippines. So we have a major issue when it comes to funding, especially funding, right? So we don't have anything when it comes to the support. So maybe this is the tool for us to be seen when it comes to the aspiring entrepreneurs and builders, because we keep on talking about building, but basically we don't have the funds for us to actually execute that. So we need support, especially from the government. And at the same time, when it comes to the money that's actually inside the Philippines, for us to support local projects, for us to definitely build that right products. So me, that's the reason why I want to empower entrepreneur, not to be scared, because also the what we call this, the bash that we're actually facing as just by being a Filipino is really hard. At the same time, we need to actually remove that mindset by actually supporting each other locally, because it's very ironic. We actually support other projects outside the country instead of supporting local projects here. So that's my take on that.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah, interesting answers. Interesting that Myrtle, you mentioned that we are supporting projects abroad, and that we should support local projects as well. And on that note, I want to know what you guys think on where do you think the Philippines would sit in the Web3 industry's landscape over the next few
Well,
years.
personally, I think Philippines is one of the top players in the world. You know, we've met a lot of people from New York, Europe, Singapore, Vietnam, Malaysia, and they're really interested in the Philippines because of our users, because of of course, the number of our population, and also like Philippines has the most Facebook users, and we adopt. We really adopt. So if you notice in a lot of events this year and in the next coming years, Filipinos will be a really big part of this Web3 industry, not just in Asia, but globally, all over the world.
Thank you. Anyone?
Yeah, I would like to quickly add to that. Tama yung sinabi niya ni Sir David that the Philippines is very poised to be a strong player in the Web3 industry when it comes to users. But really, what I think should be more focused on by private and public sectors is turning this user base into a builder base, right, when it comes to Web3 and cryptocurrencies. Hindi pwede na yung mga Pilipino lang ay tagagamit lang, taga-trade, taga-bili, tagagamit ng NFTs, etc. We need to be the ones, we need to position ourselves to be the ones building the applications, building the technologies, the NFT games, the different whatnot applications on the blockchain layers. Para this would translate talaga into something more meaningful in the long run, both for, of course, the whole Web3 industry in the Philippines and para sa ating GDP at ekonomiya. So I think that's really important, and that's why I really respected what Sparkle is doing as well, Ms. Melissa, on creating more developers here locally.
Hi.
I really agree with what David and Jiro actually mentioned. So I'll add on that one. So for the builders, right? Just a message for all the builders here in a Web3 space for in the Philippines. When we create something, let's create something that's actually disruptive in a Web3. Web3 is already a disruptive technology, but let's not try to copy what other is doing, right? Let's not create the next Axie, but let's create something that is actually a product that we can say that's really created by a Filipino, and we can really showcase it internationally, and it creates a lot of not just in the technology itself, but also the business model and revenue. I will keep repeating it because the sustainability and liquidity hasn't been resolved in the Web3 industry space. And that's what really all should be focused on, and not just the technology itself, but also the business model. And when that time comes, I think that will put the Philippines in the map. And a lot of investor, a lot of like what we're really lacking right now is the funding, because let's all face it, creating crypto Web3 project is really expensive and a lot of manpower to do it. But there's a lot of great Filipino developers here. So the additional message that I have, if you have the skills, don't use it for good, and don't use it to just have an overnight what is that? Overnight, one day billionaire, right? So it boils down to the karma. But we're as a builder, we're really trying to uplift the Filipino credibility when it comes to development. And I salute to all the educators here, Escuela, SparkLearn, and also Black Tides for really showcasing the good developers and builders of the Filipino.
All right, thank you. Very well said. Since you've mentioned about the business side of Web3, I would like to ask now, what do you think? Or why do you think businesses or brands would need to transform from Web2? How is it going to help their business?
Bro, I'll answer that. I think I said it na rin earlier, but yun nga, number one is basically to be relevant for marketing purposes. Second is, remember when nung dati, di ba, wala pa tayong mga e-commerce. Amazon was one of the starters for e-commerce. So now we're in that stage where we're in the Web3, and I think brands and businesses should enter also to make it more relevant. And then, of course, at the same time is to increase the revenue, to make also Web3 legitimate. That's also one of the reasons. And Actually, maraming use cases and reasons. A lot of brands like Pepsi, KFC, Taco Bell, Starbucks, Porsche actually, the sports car Porsche is already entering Web3 and NFT. So, ayun, I think everyone, it's similar to the internet stage where they're all trying to get into the space slowly. Even though it's not yet profitable or wala pang monetary na gains for now, but everyone's trying to step in there, similar to the era of the internet way back in the 90s.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, since we're still on the topic of businesses and in Web3, in a Web3 project, we know that we have to build a reliable, we have to design a reliable token economics. For the panelists, I'd like to ask, what do you think is a sustainable token economics for a Web3 project? For example, let's say for a GameFi project, to be specific.
Okay. I'll share you some of my insight regarding to building a sustainable tokenomics. Right now, actually, there's no really perfect tokenomics that's been developed ever since, and actually, gonna all boils down to the use case of how your token gonna be used, how much reward you're selling, right, or giving to the community. It should all goes to the balancing of the cost or the sales and the rewards that we're giving out to the community and building a lot of use cases. Let's check on how the Web 2 fundamentals was created when it comes to selling a product. For example, Apple or Samsung. They're one of the top-notch company in the world, and how they do it. They created a brands, a product that's really gonna be a lot of users gonna buy, right? And having that income coming flowing to their company, they were able to scale their business and grow it. So same thing with the Web3. If we don't have a good product, if our game is kind of like how it is, what is the right term for that? If our game is not that playable and enjoyable, that even without a reward, people will not play it. There's no money coming in, right? So we need to think of the cash flow, how we gonna create our product to make it more sustainable, playable, and entertaining. Entertaining with a lot of our gamers. So because in the gaming industry there are 4.3 billion dollars being spent in a game globally in a Web 2, and how we gonna do it is to create a good game, a good product to our community, to our gamers, so that they can play, and actually that's where the money comes in, and how we gonna reward these players is by creating a balance when it comes to your sales, to your company, to your rewarding system to our community.
I actually want to add on quickly. I know we have a time limit, but of course, not again, nothing is a perfect tokenomics still, but we might need to consider that specific chains and L2s are inevitable. At the same time, the next thing is to control the issuance rate of the tokens, and of course, user cognition really matters. At the same time, you need to actually it's all about the game economy that you're gonna build season, and then at the same time the balance of the NFT durability. Of course, there's a lot because there's different game modes when we're talking about GameFi or games, right? So to close this, actually, games will become increasingly important in many industries. At the same time, it's not yet been found for the best tokenomics, and we actually need to consider a lot of things when it comes to the protection by regulation. At the same time, freedom with transparency. Because for this, this is the real value for us to actually win the opportunity in building the right Web3 game.
All right, thank you. Okay, let's try to answer one question from the chat window. Someone is asking about NFT and royalties. Can someone explain what the secondary royalties are, and uh, after the initial stage? So
I'll
yeah,
answer that.
yeah,
So
go ahead.
it's basically royalties are creator fees. So if one artist created this NFT, every time it gets traded, the creator or the artist, the owner, the one who created that NFT, gets royalties. So for example, it can range between 1% to 10%. Um, yeah, so yun. So similar to music, the artist gets royalties if you play their song, if you stream it online. So it's similar also here in Web3, and let's say in a marketplace like OpenSea. So every time your NFT gets traded, the creator gets a certain percentage. So the percentage, it will be decided by the one who created the project, or the one who minted, or the artist himself. Yeah.
Thank you. And then a follow-up question on that note. What are also a question from the chat room? What legal and regulatory considerations should be taken into account when we are using NFTs here in the Philippines? I don't think there's
Well, yeah,
already a regulation.
I don't think it's regulated. It's not regulated.
Yeah, it's not yet regulated. So that's why it's still in the early stages and exciting to come on
It's
board.
starting, but it's actually falling. If you're all gonna realize that it's falling into gambling. So everything is gambling for now, and basically the best license that all needs to have for now that I can think of is basically the gaming license that's actually being funded by the government.
True. Thanks for that insight. Yeah. So let's move on to the industry challenge. Yeah. So we all know that adoption has always been a challenge for this industry, and maybe as an educator, maybe a question to our educator panelists here, Melissa or Jiro. How will you push adoption forward to the users in terms of being an educator?
So, to push adoption regarding blockchain technology and its use cases, I think I only have 3 points to emphasize on. First, of course, is education. Education is really vital in pushing the mass adoption for this technology. And in order to do this, we have to build a community wherein we are going to identify the levels of our learners, because not all learners are the same level. There are learners who are beginners. There are learners that are already in the advanced level. So in that aspect, we identify what level do they belong to, and if the learner is still a beginner, we have to simplify the technicalities of this technology so they can understand better what is blockchain, what is crypto, what is NFT, and all the other use cases that might come out of this tech. And with that, with the simplification that comes in with, that's the second point, we have to simplify. As of now, all of the use cases or the products that I have been using in terms of the, the complexity of the application, it's still hard to use. People are having a hard time in understanding what is cryptocurrency wallet at first. So we have to simplify really in order to help them understand it. And lastly, in order to push adoption, we have to start with the grassroots, and it means hyper localization. That's why I also have to commend Escuela, what is Jiro is doing, creating educational material in different Filipino languages, because it helps really in making it easier to digest making the info easier to digest. And also to cap it, to sum it all up, in the